Hello everybody, welcome to 36. Ooh, this door is so powerful and so meaning in my heart. Hey everybody, my name is Tiffany Rush and I am this week's ambassador for Gene Key 36. I have my 36 in my life's work key and I thought I'd print it out as a teacher. My 6th line is all about explaining and teaching. So if you're new to this, or if this is the first video you're watching, the life's work is at the very top, and as you can see, my number right here says 36. So I wanted to get that out of the way just in case there were any questions about, well, where do I find my life's work? What does that mean? How do I get my chart? And of course, if you're in this group already, you're pretty well versed with the fundamentals of how to get your chart, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about living as a 36. Coincidentally or not, I actually am 36, about to be 37 in 3 days. So this is a really interesting, pivotal time for me to share my wisdom about 36. This number is all over the place for me. It's very meaningful for me. One of my power numbers is the power of 3. 3 and a 6 is 2, and there's so much going on in 2020. So, I mean, there's so many different ways you can navigate this. So I'd like to stay focused. As a teacher, I tend to bucket all of the things in and desire to teach all that I know. And as a 36 line in my life's work, I have to tell you that turbulence has been very thematic throughout my life, off and on. And that is the shadow. It is the dark night of the soul is the theme of turbulence. So the dark night of the soul, when things around you just totally seem to implode and we go dark and we're hidden and we can't really see what's on the other side of the tunnel of this dark night. I always think of the dark night of the soul of just someone like barreling into the underground, into this deep tunnel, and it's so big you can't see the other side. So I brought along some tools for you. If you have 36 in your profile, or you feel connected to 36, remember the 36 has the shadow of turbulence, the gift of humanity, and the city of compassion. So 36 lines, man, we've been through it. And you know, when you go through it, you get to the other side to teach it. And some of my favorite tools to use as a teacher, facilitating as a 36 with my clients and people that are just purely interested in the 36 line, are my array of tools that I have over here. So I wanted just to take a second to show you what I have. So over here, I have fire, because fire is so important. I just want to make sure I'm getting this in. Fire is so important. It alchemizes everything. So even the negative words or energies or things that we think can be alchemized through fire, right? I do a lot of fire exercises. Here I have a rainbow Lemurian, which I'm so in love with. This is one of my favorite crystals that I have, dating back to the rainbow Lemurian ages. It's actually designed to be planted as a seed for them to live as eternity. This represents the crown chakra for me personally. I work a lot with this in the head. And then a 36 line is really good to have balance. So this is actually a red rock from Sedona, Arizona. I love this because it was in the shape-ish of a heart, and the triangle, of course, the number 3. So we have both things working here. This is a very grounding stone. I have a Baswani amethyst, a huge regular amethyst, which I love. I keep this next to my bed. And of course we have a large citrine here. Citrine, I love it. It just feels clean and powerful. And up on Mr. Buddha, I have the selenite. Let me make sure you can get this. Apologize. And down here we have our beloved Ganesha with some Tibetan bells. And I always have tourmaline to absorb any rays that are not needed or wanted. And then we also have the beloved Kuan Yin. I have other statues, but for this transmission, I was really feeling called to all of these tools to help bring this energy. So when you're going through this with me today, or whenever you're watching it, you will feel this energy, this transmission here with me as well. So let me just get this back on here. Here we go. Maybe. Sorry, guys. Sorry about this. All right. They required me to use my patience. Somewhere in my chart, I feel like I have the patience line. Anyway, all right. So now that we're back in business, you see the tools that I'm working with that are being transmitted over into this broadcast. You can feel deeply into all of the energy of it all. So the 36 line also has the programming partner of the 6. So when the two of them balance each other, it's really interesting what goes on. So you have two shadows, one of turbulence and the other is conflict. So the line 6 has a lot of conflict that goes on, and it can actually influence the turbulence at hand with the 36 that's experiencing this. So if you do have 36, the programming partner of 36, especially in the outer lines, is a line 6. So the two of them are going to start to battle for the other's attention. It feels like this is what it feels like. It feels like, oh my gosh, I really require having more clarity with why I'm going through this turbulence and what is on the other side of this. And to be honest with you, the beauty is not knowing. And the 36 line has the gift of diplomacy, and that influences the gift of the 36 line of humanity. So to me, both of those words feel political, and not necessarily that they're political in their traditional sense, but it helps the people who are called to be in this zone, in this powerful space, to step forward and to be the shining stars. 36 lines, if you have 36 anywhere in your chart, you are literally being catapulted to expose your deepest truths and sit with who you are really. One of the biggest things I love to work with is authenticity, and you'll hear this thematically through the videos that I make for everybody. But the 36 line focuses on the deepest part within of humanity. We are all one. We are all connected. And when you rise up and shift into compassion, your world starts to change. So if you have the 36 anywhere in your chart, mine just so happens to be in my life's work, which no pressure or anything, right? But it feels like there's a sense of responsibility. What is it that 36 lines really excel at? So 36 line here is all about becoming human and using the human experiences to step into the teacher role, if that's what you're designed to do, or whatever your programming line or your line is. So I'm a 36-6. I'm designed to be a teacher. Every single thing I've ever learned comes out because I'm designed to teach it to everyone, humanity. Now, if you have any doubt in your mind about your life's purpose and who it is that you're really designed to be, I highly suggest working with the 36, even if you don't have it in your chart. And the reason being is because when you start to even work with the element of humanity and compassion, you can start to feel the collective. You can start to feel everyone's energy. If you're, especially if you're empathic, if you're in this group, there's a very strong chance that you are a highly sensitive person or an empath, or both. Most likely empath, right? If you're in this group. And when you really feel into your genius and what you're here to do and why you're here, you start to figure out the parts of humanity that are broken and the ones that require the love of a 36, the compassion. Find whatever it is that you are so good at, that you love more than anything to do to show the world who you truly are. That is where we are headed. In these difficult times, depending on when you're watching this video will live on forever. right now we are basically in a pandemonium of the COVID-19, the coronavirus, right? Everything's shutting down. Schools are shutting down. Bars are shutting down. States are shutting down. Countries are shutting down. And all I keep thinking in my mind is, okay, round one. What's after the coronavirus? This is a test run. This is how do we all adapt and survive, right? And thrive on the other side. Yeah, people are washing their hands. They're not traveling. They're, confining themselves. But people that will start to deteriorate are the ones who have the weaker mindset, the ones that aren't fully understanding that this is a collective dark night of the snow. This is turbulent for mankind, for most people. How we get to elevate above this is joining hands, becoming one, becoming so in tune with the collective desires and needs that we start to facilitate in our own way love, compassion, humanity, peace. Just being your truest, most authentic self is going to be what carries you through. If you're living in inauthenticity, if you're trying to piece the puzzles together to make it look like you have a great life over here and this is great, all these things, and I'm a showy person and I got this and that, but like on the inside you're deteriorating, you're living false. You are living a falsified existence. And through all of these times and measures, the thing that will allow us all to survive the most is true authenticity in the divine self of who you really are. And I've mentioned this before, but if you've ever contemplated if you're an empath or highly sensitive person, or really just learning about the gene keys at an intellectual level, I highly encourage you to sit back and start to feel into the identity of who you are and allow that to transmission to shine through. So I've printed my chart out tons of times. In fact, this one is most likely going to probably go right here underneath of this frame, just so I can look at it. I have my kids printed out, I have my husband's, and it really does help when it comes to relationships. One of the quotes from the 36 line that Richard Rudd wrote is, when your struggles with sexuality and emotional turbulence are finally embraced openly and honestly, a remarkable gift is born. You finally graduate as a human being. And I will be completely transparent because this is what I do as a human being operating 36 all day long, all my life. There was definitely times where I validated or looked for justification through a sexual presence, not necessarily the act of sex per se, but being a sexual creature and being desirable. And I felt that that passion in my sacral chakra was really the driving force. So I would utilize that power in different types of ways. It would just help me feel like there was something I had to prove. And it wasn't necessarily negative. It wasn't necessarily positive either. It just was this driving force. Ever since I was a teenager, I just was like, oh, I guess everyone just has this like raging sexual organs that just navigate your life. I kind of felt like a guy. I know that might sound crazy, but you know how they always say like guys, think with their other brain and all of that. I was kind of feeling like, well, maybe I do too. Maybe I'm so dominant. Maybe my testosterone levels are high, or maybe there was something going on with me. And then what happened was, through my dark nights of the soul, and in my bio, I shared with everybody, I've lost 2 children through stillbirths, went through a very traumatic divorce. I've been raped, abused, all of the things that you can possibly imagine. It was so difficult for me in those moments to see why this was occurring. But instead of ending it all, because there were times where I felt like I was going to just lose it and end it all. I was so depressed, I was so off balance, I was so turbulent within and without. And for some reason, there was this driving force of beautiful spiritual power inside of me saying, don't give up. There's something more to this. You have to teach us these things. People require to learn from you. It's not time to go. And I kept hearing this chatter and these voices, and I had one son at that time. Now I have a biological daughter and 2 stepkids through all of these things. And it was my driving force not to end it. There was just this deeper part that says, you are about to change. There's things about you that are about to change. And it was literally the life that I knew as I knew it. That was what was changing. There was so much more to life. I could have certificates and degrees and diplomas and this and that. And at the end of the day, people didn't really care. Although I'm proud of my accomplishments, don't get me wrong. But people want to hear truth from people who've walked it. So if you're a 36 line, it is legitimately your duty in life, part of it, to share all of the dirt in your shoes. Take it apart. Look at what you've stepped in. What is making you who you are? So the codon ring of divinity is also noted in the Gene Key 36, and there is quite a spiritual biblical reference to the 36 line. We talk about the Beatitudes, which are in the Bible, and it is really just to help us become more compassionate. And it talks about the suffering of Christ, and I will just with a caveat say I operate more in a spiritual realm versus religious, but I will say that I was born and raised Catholic, and I just kind of would stare at this church and be like, yeah, but who's this God guy? Like, I want to know more about him. How did he do this whole thing? How did he make the earth? Like, I want to know more about this. And you know, maybe he did. Maybe there's a higher power than that. But let's just take it for what it is. The symbology behind Christ in the Beatitudes, right, is that he had to suffer to feel human. The very fact that he is suffering makes him more human. If you are not delivering your into your message, you appear to be this non-human type of person. You appear to be higher than it all. But especially if you are a teacher or if you are driven as a server, really, these are the two I always find when I work with 4s and 6s, that they are the driving force. They have very similar flows, and their energies really want to serve the collective in any type of way, whether it's a teacher per se in the traditional sense or teaching you through this modality or being a server and really trying to go out there. There's so many different aspects about being a 36 that make you, or a 4 and a 6, that make you desirable and make you more human. And that doesn't mean if you're a 36-1 or if you have any of those, anything in your chart that just, this feels like, yes, I know what Tiffany is talking about. I know what she means. If you've had it rough, man, I feel you. High five, because we can't touch in person because of the corona, but also high five because we're virtual, and I love you. Because you know what? Like, there is so much depth to truth. And there's so much relatability. I have suffered. I have been at my lowest. I have been betrayed. I have been hurt. I have been lied to, cheated on, raped, just been through it all. And I really just didn't know why. Why? Oh, because I was the chosen vessel to go through this turbulent dark night of the soul. So when I get out to work with humanity, people are like, oh, she's kind of relatable. I think she gets it. She's not some spiritual person that just stepping into the spotlight and riding on the popularity wheels of spiritual coaching. No way. I've lived it. I've been there. I've done that. I get it. So I encourage all of you to really soak in your truth. Start to write your story. Start to share your story. Start to think of the ways that your deepest suffering in the turbulent times have the driving force. That is your gasoline to rise up into compassion at the very top. And excuse me. When we work with compassion and humanity, and the programming partner of the 6 of peace and diplomacy, I have to tell you that the most driving force of expression is love. I love real hard. Do you guys love real hard? You know what I mean? Like when you love so hard, it almost feels overwhelmingly vibrational. When you love so hard, you're like, there's no way anyone can ever match this love that I feel. When you step in to love, love literally starts to smash different parts of your being. And in all of the negative fashions I want to show up, they start to smash it and alchemize it. There's a very powerful tool for alchemization. And it's literally when you purge through emotions. So, for example, I work with several women who have lost their spouses. And some of them haven't cleaned out their homes or their garages or the cars, or they are living in consistent grief. When you start to share love with people like that, and this could be for you, I could be offering you the gift of love right now. When you work with love, you can take that and you can weave it into the blanket in your aura, and you can just sit with it, and you can love it, and you can be love. When you start to work with the highest vibrational frequency of love, did you see how my spine just elongated right like that? It's interesting. Energy's so fun. When you pull love in, you elongate, you expand, you increase your vibrational frequency tremendously. And it is just one of the most powerful driving forces. Everything can be conquered with love. And as a 36 line in the life's work, yes, I work with humanity. Yes, I work in compassion. Yes, there is turbulence that's thematically grown underneath of all of it. But with every one of my keys, with every one in my chart, if I just wrote love across it, that can help alchemize and grow all of the shadows into your gifts in your city. So I read a lot about the Gene Keys, and 36 likes to really compare it to the Christ and Jesus and being the salt of the earth and very desirable, and allowing the suffering and the compassion and the moments to be held within the 36 and universal love. And I just have to tell you, well, one of the quotes I read was that the 36 are the most heart-melting people to ever walk the face of the earth. And it's a very interesting concept, because when you work in the realm of ego, most people that, when we're testing our abilities, may have some ego flare involved. But when you're working with almost such a high responsibility, really, and this is why I brought the Sedona rock with me. It is so easy, especially if you're 6 line, the higher up the rooftops you get, right? The higher up to the roof of the tree. The way that I was taught by the Gene Keys, by my mentor, Katerina Satori, who's also in these groups, I literally learned line 1 is in the roots of the tree, and then as you go up to the 6th line is at the canopy, the rooftops. We're literally sitting here at the very top, looking down, admiring everyone, and just feeling how Earth is hurting. So it's almost easy. It's like a default for anyone with a 6th line to go up to the top and just live there. We're like, we're just gonna stay in outer space. It's real cool up here. I got a whole view of the field. I'm just gonna hang out, watch everybody. So realistically, that's not realistic. Okay, so the reason I love working with a red rock from Sedona, like, you don't have to be as extravagant as me and actually go to Sedona and get a red rock. I tend to go big. Sedona is my favorite place in the whole world for so many reasons. I actually got married there, which is super cool. Second marriage, did that one the right way, the way I wanted it. And, you know, part of my story, part of the turbulence, turned it into love. But this is such a grounding rock. When I hold this, I literally feel my feet activate. I feel a flush of warmth going down because I'm asking this rock, I'm asking this beautiful, heavy red rock to please gift me its beautiful love and power and the energies that it was designed to serve with humans, and just soak it into my entire being. And I feel a flush going all the way down. And I actually will sit on this. Well, one cheek fits on, but I'll sit on it and I'll have it activating my root chakra and working with the bottom, because balance is key. Okay, so really, really, really understanding the essence of it is that is you. What is you? What is this opportunity of you being able to understand more about yourself to serve the world? 36 is really powerful. That's why this transmission is so in depth and so long, because it just has so much weight and value. This is a class in and of itself. Right now, you are all getting transmitted this beautiful energy from everything that I showed you, and every word that is being spoken has a vibrational frequency. Yes, I like to add sense of humor to this, because if you don't have humor, you are a lost soul. Not necessarily in a bad way, because I love y'all, but please add humor to this. You will feel lost. You will feel like a lost soul. You will feel like everything has to be so serious, and I have to pray and meditate, blah. It's just not like that, guys. The more fun you have, the easier this journey is. Make light of this. And I will leave you all with the Beatitudes. With the true, this one of the quotes that I found to share with you was, with above in mind and held softly in your heart, perhaps you may come to a deeper intuitive understanding of the meaning of the Beatitudes, those famous words of Jesus uttered in the Sermon of the Mount. So I'm going to leave this with you, and I'm just going to allow this transmission to soak in with you. Use it as a meditation. Write these things down. Interchange the word God with universe or source, whatever feels good for you. I'm just going to read this transmission, soak it into my heart, and allow it to come through you energetically with love and compassion to serve all of humanity. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And may all of you who are listening to this beautiful interpretation of the 36 line feel with deep sense of gratitude and love within your hearts how amazing each and every one of you are. Whether or not you had 36 in your chart, we all have all 64 within us. So if this resonated with you, but you're looking at your chart and you don't see 36, that doesn't mean you don't embody it. So let this all be a transmission of love and purity and harmony. As we grow through turbulent times to serve humanity, we will operate in the utmost level of compassion to serve the world, to step into the new earth, because we are now here. We are the pioneers of the new earth. Thank you so much. My name's Tiffany Rush. It was an honor serving you today. Thank you.